collector booster box. 4, and one is 300.
Topics before we start.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you over that goatee.
Whoa. Welcome, everyone, to the #1 Taylor Swift podcast on the internet. Taylor Swift, we know you watch our show and channel. We're so glad that you are dating that Travis guy that I didn't know anything about until you started dating him. Welcome back to the Magic the Gathering podcast, everyone. May the zoo be with you. I'm joined by Josh. Josh, say hello. Finger guns. We need an animation. We don't know how to start this podcast with George. Can we just get out there and say that right now? We are so bad at starting. There's no George this week.
You're bad at starting. I'm great at everything,
all right,
except you two.
Start, then.
Whoa. Welcome to May the Zoo be with you, America's #1 Taylor Swift and sometimes Magic the Gathering podcast. I am, of course, joined by the used-to-be heaviest Magic the Gathering content creator and now is the cross-fittiest Magic the Gathering content creator. Goatee, still questionable. Louis DeGeorge.
What is up, everyone? And I'm joined by the man who has a channel membership he'd like to pump. Josh from Hometown TCG.
I let the board members pump the channel membership. I don't do that myself. I let everyone else do it.
Oh, man. What is up, everyone? So glad to be here. A little bit of a weird week for us. We've all been busy. George is super busy doing some fundraising for things that need to be fundraised for. So if you want to go donate to ALS and cure diseases like George, go do that, please. But today, we are not doing that. We are talking about Magic the Gathering. So we're going to be chatting today about Ixalan spoiler season and some of the stuff happening within the set and what we think it means for Magic going forward. We're going to talk about the Lord of the Rings Rockstar stuff and what we think about the winter set that's coming out. Magic Standard is back, and Josh is so excited about it. It is unbelievable. Unbelievably excited. We're going to talk about 151 and how right I was last week and how wrong the other two bozos were. We're going to talk about Sorcery Beta. We're going to chat about Lorcana Set 2 and how there's basically none of each. So that's going to be the discussion points today. So, Josh, popping it out early, buddy.
That's a record for you. That's a record for you, buddy.
I love how you were like, I'm going to grab my water, and you show up with a White Claw.
I have water as well. I've been criticized for having like
death since like 1 o'clock this afternoon.
The Celsius is doing the same. I will oscillate between water, Celsius, and White Claw because, you know, the whole spectrum of beverages. But I don't know what's included in our pre-podcast conversation, if the whole thing's included or not. Can we touch on the fact that Taylor Swift is a fan of May the Zoo be with you? Can we touch on that? Like, that's...
Yeah, tell them why.
What do you mean? What do you mean why? She's dating Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is essentially the me of the NFL, right? So clearly, ipso facto, she loves the podcast. Like 100%.
I don't know if it's just because we regularly talk about Taylor Swift on the podcast, but my Facebook algorithm is nothing but Taylor Swift. And maybe it's just, alternatively, maybe the Taylor Swift Travis Kelce thing is just such a big deal that it's just on everyone's social media.
His brother had a great burn. They do a podcast together, and his brother like, isn't it nice that Taylor Swift finally put you on the map? And he's like the best tight end of all time. It was pretty good. It was a pretty good burn.
My favorite conspiracy is that he's paying Taylor Swift to become famous. That Taylor Swift's getting paid in him sitting out on games, so that whatever Taylor Swift's team is, I think it's the
Eagles?
The Eagles.
The Eagles
can win a Super Bowl finally. I like that. I like that conspiracy. You guys know me. I like a good conspiracy theory, and I'm all in on that one. So,
conspiracy theory podcast when?
I think we should do it. I think we should drop all the TCGs and just do a conspiracy theory podcast. It would be way better, way more entertaining, and way less stressful.
But since we haven't, we're here to talk about trading card games, and we are kicking things off with Rivals of Ixalan spoilers, which Louis just
came out five to 10 years ago.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Lost Caverns of Ixalan. I've actually said that like 6 times. I've said that 6 times and caught myself every time. So good catch.
We defeated the Rivals. Now we're in search of Lost Caverns, and there's also elephants. There's elephants
in the planet. In the planetary system of the Lost Caverns. But more importantly, my point was, before I butchered the name of the set, you learned about all of this 5 minutes ago. So I love to... That's not true. That's not
a little true.
but
It's
I
not
love to do what you do to me all the time. Louis, what are your thoughts on Lost Caverns of Ixalan?
So what we just learned 5 minutes ago is that there's 3 set symbols in this set, which is it's another one of those sets that's wild.
Don't we?
There are 3 set symbols, and I want to have a discussion point on that in general for Magic because, like, at some point it's too much. And as a guy who does a lot of single sales and trusts 2 different employees to buy singles and sell singles and ship singles, that's too much, Wizards. 3 different set symbols is too much. There's already too many set symbols.
Okay, as a guy who spends his free time making YouTube videos and making it his business to know about Magic the Gathering, who couldn't answer a lot of your set symbol questions, it's too much, Wizards. It's too much. It's just too many set symbols.
But let's not just get negative. Cavern of Souls reprint and in standard, wild. Do we want to do some pricing on this? Is this are we gonna gamble this one? Because it's a little bit similar to Liliana, right? It's like the same. I don't know, like Cavern of Souls, Liliana. I guess Cavern of Souls is probably a little bit better. But that it's in a standard release. But
Liliana had kind of been power crept out of most things before she got released, right? Cavern of Souls still viable in a couple of formats, but I got a hot take about this. It shows a lot of their design principles. So let's remember this when we get to the standard section because it has to do with that. But they made a lot of statements about design principles, and Cavern of Souls leans into that. If we look at the World Championship winning list, it's mid-range good stuff. Cavern of Souls rewards you for not playing mid-range good stuff, but for playing a typal or tribal, whatever generation of all you come from, playing that specific strategy which used to exist in a block now will exist in a standard design space. So I think they're leading in, man. Cavern of Souls. That's what the little nuggets tell me from Cavern of Souls.
I think a more powerful standard environment would be a huge win. I mean, if you look back, like Cavern of Souls at one point was a standard card, and it has just become a commander staple. What?
Every standard card became a commander. Save this for standard.
That's not true, though. That's not true. Commander, like Siege Rhino didn't. Siege Rhino sucks, and it was a standard powerful card. I know. I just like digging on Siege Rhino because I know it's one of your favorite cards.
I think Siege Rhino. One of 2 things happened. Siege Rhino either had its time in Commander when you weren't playing Commander, or I don't know. You might be right. I don't know.
All right, let's go back to the 3 symbols though. So we have this one that people are seeing on the screen, and that is the regular set symbol. And then we have those lands look sweet. Then we have a back of slot thing that's I think it's like the Brothers War Transformers, and this is a Jurassic Park crossover.
So cool.
So like I want let's okay. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. And then the other one is where Mana Crypt comes in, and that's the special guest. So you have 3 different slots. I think I thought when I was reading about all this and not looking at cards, I think I thought that the special guest and the Jurassic Park were one and the same. So in a pack, where does the special guest thing come in? Is that every pack, or is that like a more rare pull?
So I don't think we know yet. I don't think we've got that information. And that's also not to say that the Jurassic Park things and the special guest might not be in the same slot. We don't know any of that information, right? Okay. I do want to point out, for a set like any Ixalan set, whether I butcher the name or not, I'm pretty pumped for the draft. I have been vocally, avidly against the interset mini outside universes beyond subset. I don't even know what to call it. But yeah, like the Transformers in Brothers War just felt late.
Weird. Is that the only time we've really seen this? Because we've seen the Strixhaven Mystical Archives a couple times now, and you like those.
So that would be more in line with the special guest, right? Because that's like the Brothers War schematic artifacts. That's like the Enchanting Tales. The special guests here are like in that vein. I'm talking about like the Transformers, because I do feel like when you're opening the pack, it's weird to be like, oh, also Bumblebee, which is ironic because Bumblebee wasn't one of the Transformers chosen, the only one that everyone knows.
They never did a secret layer on that either. I thought for sure that was coming.
Is saving it for a secret layer. But I think I'm just biased here because, like, how do you not love Jurassic Park cards in a dinosaur set? Like, it's so good.
If it's super
so good.
I still hate it, but if it's like as a boomer,
I'm wrong. I want to hate it. I'm wrong, but I love it.
I hate the idea that I'm playing against Ian Malcolm. Like, I don't know, man. It's just not my thing. So hit your bingo card on that one. But I agree. That's cool. So all three of these...
Hold on. I'm pausing you. It is end of September of 2023. When do you think you're going to get the hell over it? Because it's been happening. No. It's been a while now.
It's part of the channel. It's like Rudy talking about investing in sealed magic product when it's all worth like $5 more than
you leave my babies alone.
It's like that. It's just part of the channel now. I don't like it. It is what it is. All three of these sets within the set are part of draft, right? But not all of them are part of standard, right?
Yes.
Like some of them are outside of the standard. All of them go straight to commander. Like you can play an Ethan Malcolm Chaotician, I think. Chaotician? So I think that's got to be a made-up word.
Like that's like a professor of chaos theory, right? Because that's like his thing. That's his
Malcolm
jam.
professor of chaos then. That's way cooler. That's a way cooler name. That is
you are no. Right. Gosh, have like one intellectual bone in your body. Ian Malcolm, chocolate eater.
So you can play him in Commander. That is good. But
you can play like anything in Commander, right?
It's not going to Modern. It's just to Commander and probably Legacy because they do all that.
Yeah. Legacy is like every printed card ever, all the time,
or something. The people who play Legacy are probably pretty upset about that, but we're not going to worry about those boomers. We only care about my type of boomers.
You have to fall. You can't be this old. You have to be this old, but not this young. Like if you fall right here, you see what we're saying. Like this is one of the few times I think I might collect that subset, like one of everything, and put it in a binder.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. I never do it.
It's just Jurassic Park. And I'm recognizing my bias here, right? It's just because Jurassic Park is cool. Me and my brother bond over Jurassic Park. It's something we both enjoy. He actually got me to read the books, which I never would have done without his suggestion. Mm-hmm. So, like, I don't know, man. I think this is a good way to give Commander players interesting cards. Instead of having the whole Commander subset in a set, right? Where it's Dominaria United, then Dominaria United Commander in the same pack all the time and like in different slots. Like that's bad. This is a great way to do that. And the special guests that we saw, I mean, we boasted about it for weeks now. The special guests, the mystical archives, the schematic artifacts, great way to give good value reprints in standard products. Like this is the way to do it. This is a big win.
I just confirmed too. I just looked in. Those are certainly not the face commanders of the commander decks. I was kind of curious as you were saying that if Ian Malcolm was going to be part of the commander subset because it was, and it's not is not any of the colors of the face commanders on the commander decks,
right? No, I'd expect those to be set themed commander decks like normal. I do think these are just going to be slotted into. Definitely collector boosters, possibly set boosters. You probably, maybe, I don't know. Draft boosters are all over the place, man. Maybe they'll be in draft boosters too.
I assume they'll be the same as Brothers War was, which was in, I think, everything.
Okay.
But they had the shattered glass ones that were exclusive to collector ones, which did really well on release. But
my Brothers War and my poor wallet, it is wrecking me.
I hate the lands. I know that's a hot take. The borderless lands, I hate them.
They don't evoke the same like emotion as the Kamigawa lands, the new Kamigawa set, Neon Dynasty. Really?
I think they're so boring. I hate them.
I think they're cool.
I know that everybody in my Discord server, the store Discord server, was like raving about them. I was like, guys, I don't know, man. I just don't like them. I guess it's like I like the old border magics. Again, I'm such a boomer. I like the old border foils so much that like this stuff does nothing.
Listen, that's a fair take, and compared to those, I'm not a fan. But from the other, like, we knew we were going to get full art lands in this set because, spoiler alert, it's a Magic set. As far as like meeting that criteria, I like them in that. I wouldn't pick them against some old school, old border, foil lands or anything like that. I'm not saying I would do that, but I like them. They're neat.
All right, Cavern of Souls has parallel printings. That's another thing to chat about. Let's make bets. Do you think that this will be like Neon Dynasty, where they have like extreme rarity, like the Neon Ink cards? Or is that already public knowledge and something?
Yes, like I do think that. Would you like to bet a collector booster box?
No, I don't want to bet against that.
So if you pull them up, I don't know if you have them up on the screen right now. There's one of every color that represents the color pie, and then there's one printing that has all of the colors present in it. You have to look pretty hard to see it, but I think the pretty common consensus is that's going to be the rare one.
Okay, wait. So you're saying there's...
So you got a Cavern of Souls, you got one in yellow that represents your plains, you got a black one or a dark gray or whatever it is that represents the swamp, a blue one, a purple one, you got a blue one, but then you got one that has a bunch of colors throughout the card, so elements of all the other color pie in that one, and that's supposed to be the hyper rare one.
Huh. I think I'm looking at that one.
Yeah, maybe.
It's only $100 on TCG Player right now. Should I buy it?
Listen, we don't speculate here on this podcast, but yes, absolutely, it's underpriced. Spend your hard-earned money.
Dagger Games would ship it if the price went up?
No. Do you not want an honest take? Because no, I don't.
Not roast them. We don't know them. We don't know.
This has nothing to do with Dragon's Dagger Games.
Like, would they? Like, if it's that rare, would they actually pull it? That's kind of cool. Actually, I don't know if that's a super rare one. I see purple, and purple's not a Magic color. So, are you sure you're right about that?
Gray represents artifact. I'm pretty sure purple represents swamp. Like all the other cards, get the Neon Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, like their swamp cards and their special treatment are represented by purple. I think that's what we're looking at. Now,
so I think the crazy thing about this is if that's the case and they are super like rare like that, the Neon Ink card sucked. It was a terrible card, right? It was
not super playable.
I can't pronounce the name.
Hidetsugu?
Hidetsugu. Not a card that anybody would ever put in a deck or anybody would ever want.
Unless Standard was around at the time.
Cavern of Souls is a card that people would want a extremely rare variant of.
Don't bury the lead.
What lead?
The same variance is going to be on the Mana Crypt as well from the spoilers we got.
Oh, really?
Yeah, meaning you're gonna. So if everything we say remains true, the Mana Crypt that has all the color, that's gonna be the insane one, dude.
To me, that's better than the serialized cards. Hot take.
Yeah, but they can have. How many of them are out there?
Well, they wouldn't be able to put that many of them out there.
But you can't put me on the other side of this argument. You do this every week. It takes me off. I agree. Unique art on the serialized cards would be better. But these cards, if you knew how many of them there were, if they just told you, hey, there's 1,000 of the special color Mana Crypt, the value of that card goes up. Regardless of the number that they say.
Speculate that there's less than 1,000 of the high.
I don't know.
Like if you look at the Neon Ink, I don't know if I can pop that up on TCG Player.
The Hidetsugu? Yeah. Am I saying that right?
HI? This is why
I don't know.
It's worthless, because nobody can
find it to buy it. Listen, that would be a cool card to have graded. Speaking of which, since our grading conversation, I've got more graded cards coming in the mail. I'm fairly nervous with that.
Like the neon blue ones, like $25. The yellow one's $25. The green one's $80. The red one's the most rare, and it's $1,000. So there's collectibility at multiple price points. Oh no! That's terrible. There's been 3 sales in the history since 7.7. So that's not the history of the set. I just think that could be less than 1,000. Is my point. It
100% could be, but if they came out and stated that, if Wizards confidently said it's less than 1,000, and that's what the serialized number on these cards do, right? All it does is confidently state that there's less of these. But you can't keep putting me in the bucket that the unique art wouldn't make it better. That would be way better. That would be way better. But the serialized card, the number of the card is important.
Yeah. All right. I'm way more excited about this set than I thought I would be at the beginning of the year. I think I predicted this set was going to be my least favorite set of the year. Because it's like, how many times can you revisit dinosaurs? Like, we did it in Ixalan.
Inside the planet now.
Rivals of Ixalan. Well, like, is it even dinosaurs? Are there dinosaurs? Is there going to be a giant T-Rex that's underground?
First of all, there is a giant T-Rex in the set. We've already seen it. Second of all, there's a guy with a T-Rex for an arm.
Oh, that thing!
His right arm is a T-Rex.
Well, Gahalta's back in, so that's cool.
I am going to punch you with a T-Rex arm one day.
The T-Rex arm guy's pretty sweet. I wish I popped up that card, but I didn't.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for this set. But, like, I don't know. Magic's been crushing it.
Yeah, this
like Wizards of the Coast and Magic's been it's been an incredible year, so I've just been excited a lot. And maybe I'm being unfair, but Ixalan's better than I thought it was going to be. Wilds of Eldraine, not as good as I thought it was going to be, and still good. And still good.
Locally, Wilds of Eldraine's doing fantastic for us. Like,
no,
I don't know what
I meant
the online
like
global market is, but like, I can't. Like, people are buying set packs. Boxes.
I meant the impact of like playable cards. Up the Beanstalk is obviously making waves. Questing Druid, I'm trying to find a place for it in Pioneer, but I'm struggling a bit. But like I expected a bit more, but I think I was jaded because the last Eldraine set was like, if we didn't ban most of it, it was ridiculous, right?
Well,
like
that's good that they learned from that.
Yeah, for sure. Like it couldn't be that, but
all right. I do have pre-orders up of Lost Caverns of Ixalan if anybody wants to pre-order stuff.
What about Rivals of Ixalan?
I have some boxes of Rivals. I don't think I want to sell them though. I want to draft it. I love doing drafts locally. Like before Lost Caverns of Ixalan comes out, the week before we'll draft like Rivals or Original Ixalan just to like get.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
You know what's even cooler than that? The fact that I could go do that draft and then the next week go to the other store and do that same draft. Like that's pretty cool.
No, they don't.
Like as a consumer, I get to do it twice. Like that's a win.
All right, never mind. Let's move on. Lord of the Rings, though, we might disagree on this one. Tales of Middle Earth holiday release got spoilers for that. This has been crazy looking Magic card after crazy looking Magic card this week. Like everything's flashing crazy. Josh, what are your thoughts on the crazy looking Magic cards?
It's so weird because
dude, that Saruman of many colors is so cool. I want so bad, but I have no clue what it does, and I don't care.
Let's split this out. Okay, so I'm not gonna let you just put me on the spot and be like, "What are your thoughts on the look of the Magic cards?" When there's 9 million variants. Let's start with the scene boxes. Have you had a chance to glance at the scene boxes?
Yeah, I did a whole video on them.
In my
it shows you watch my content.
I click like. In my opinion, these scene boxes, massive win. I love the way these look. And there's another product in this set, or another variant in this set, that I think is so on point and looks so good. It's got like the old school look to it. It's got like the scroll feel, the really like dated looking colors, and that just fits with the idea of Lord of the Rings. And then we have I have no idea.
The scroll look is terrible. I didn't even pop an image up because I didn't want to look at it.
Because that's what Lord of the Rings is to me. That's Lord.
Ugly Scrolls was the book that you were reading just like completely worn?
First of all, yes, it was. Second of all, that is Lord of the Rings. It's whatever you like in the set is not Lord of the Rings.
I don't remember them reading any paper in Lord of the Rings.
You don't remember them reading the Rockstar posters on the wall of the concert hall where they went to throw the ring on stage? All right, man, just rave about it.
When you were setting that whole thing up, I thought you were going to talk about the artwork on the special edition box, which I think looks fantastic, and I wish that was the art direction and theme that we were getting. I don't really fully understand why.
The scrolling old school look is closer to that than whatever you like out of this crap.
But I thought we were going to get more of like the old school cartoony stuff. That would have been sweet too.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that kind of stuff. All right, let's go back to the what are they called? The showcase. What do they call it?
I don't want to. The Rockstar poster.
No,
is that what it is?
The bundle thing.
Scene, but okay, the good product. Gotcha.
The scene bundle. Shout out to Yoko Be Loco, who's been helping me through my Final Fantasy 3 streams. Dude, that's been a lot
Yoko
of fun.
is
Nobody watches them.
I do.
But it's been a ton of fun. Anyway, that's what I said I was going to do last week. See how I commit to things on the podcast and then just do them because I have to, because I commit to them.
Proud of you, dude.
He's been helping me through that. He said that he thinks that box is going to be the what was that thing from Phyrexia? The Step and Complete bundle of this product line. Yeah, that's it's just like a no-brainer that it's going to be crazy popular and they're not going to be able to keep it in stock.
Listen, I'm a massive Yoko stan. Always on my live streams, always hanging out. I don't know if I can get behind that one. If they don't print that to oblivion, like they have to of the holiday release, something has to be printed to oblivion because it has to
Jumpstart Volume 2.
I keep forgetting that's in this set. Okay, a real product that people are going to be willing to buy has to be printed to oblivion. And I don't see it being the collector booster box, especially because we got these serialized realms and relics in there. So it's got just process of elimination.
Okay. Let me push back. Is it maybe possible that the print run of Step and Complete bundle was actually pretty high, but the demand was just way higher? Like we always talk about print runs and like I think like the Lord of the Rings collector boxes, I don't think that those were shorter printed than anything else, but the demand was just so astronomical that it just ate up the print run.
I mean, I guess in comparison to what? Like if you were in comparison to Wilds of Eldraine collector boxes, like sure, it'll probably be pretty equivalent, but there'll just be a higher demand, or in the comparison to any indie TCG print run. But I do think that the Step and Complete bundle should have been printed more than it was because it came at a more affordable price point, right? And you're going to see that with these scene bundles. They're not going to be you got two products on the shelf. You got a scene bundle, a one of 6 of your choosing or whatever it is, and you have a collector booster box. 4 and one is 300
topics before we start.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you over that goatee. One is like $350 and the other is going to be, $100 max, right? What do you think people are going to buy?
Yeah, I mean,
right?
Yeah, you also have the set boxes that are still in stock, and that's what's inside the bundles. But
right, but I'm talking about the new, like the refresh of the Lord of the Rings. People are going to want the new stuff. They're going to be interested in when it's re-releases in November. People are going to be like, oh, it's my opportunity to buy the set box I could have bought this whole time.
I agree that they should print more of it. I kind of lean towards the other side of it too, where it's like, show me the person who bought Lord of the Rings and who's not going to buy one of those bundles. Like, if you cared at all about Lord of the Rings, you're going to go to your LGS and be like, yeah, I'll spend $40 on this.
And the scenes on display in your Magic's bringing the binder back, baby. Like the cards in your binder look good.
Listen, man, I just disagree. Like, I don't think it matters how much they print of that. I think it'll be like the hottest product. Like, I just think it'll be hard to find. It'll sell out at your LGS, just like Step and Complete did. We had people coming in for Step and Complete who had come to the store like once or twice a year ago, and then like they just played kitchen table Magic and they just didn't like the store setting, and like they came in to buy Step and Complete like 3 times. Like they just kept coming back to try to get that.
It's such a good product, and it's such a win. It did just a win on so many levels, right? The collectability, the affordability, it was literally for the everyman. And I
have those lands as my draft lands.
Well, oh my God, how many of those lands do you have? You have so many lands.
When people were buying the bundles, I was buying back the lands as the store because they wanted to open the pack that had the special.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They were like, "Oh, I'm not going to do anything with 2 of each of the lands." So I was buying back the set of lands for like half the price that they were buying the bundles with. So I have 10 of each.
I'm not here to criticize your consumers, but what are you doing? You're too closer to your play set than you were before.
Yeah. So those are my draft lands. So and people hate them because you can't tell what color mana I have because they are atrocious.
They look really good, but they're hard to tell.
And I can't tell. I don't know most of the time. It's great. All right, let's talk about the borderless, what's it called, the poster frame ones.
Do we have to?
Listen, man.
I know.
I hate that I love it so much because I
No, you
totally
don't.
agree that it's not Magic. But in this one, like Saruman just looks so freaking cool. I also want to start it this way. I love so much that it's not a secret layer. Like I love that
That's
this
true.
is in the product and not a secret layer. I actually started a video today and I deleted it because I didn't quite have my ducks in a row yet on it. But
Never do that, dude. Just push it.
I think like we're getting to a point where they've done so many secret layers that if you go to the secret layer website, it's overwhelming and you just leave. Like you're like, oh, I don't know which one of these 400 secret layers to buy. Do you think that they're moving away from secret layer and into putting things into collector boxes because they also know that they can just sell product as secret layer too? Like they can just move the product that doesn't sell into their website as secret layer. Was it us that was having a phone call about this, by the way? Or is that George?
That might have been you and George.
Okay.
So there's some validity to the fact that they are clearly pulling back on secret layer. And no longer it's like, hey, random secret layer drop for this month. They're doing them seasonally, right? So you get a whole season of secret layer and you get the opportunity to buy it over time. There's something to what you said. I'm not skipping, I don't want to skip your main point here. But when you're like the secret layer website, you go and then you leave because it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
I have visited that site countless times at this point. And if I don't want to buy the super bundle, like, hey, give me everything.
Yeah.
I won't go pick a bundle out of the lot or pick 4 copies of a bundle that I want. I'll either buy the everything bundle or nothing at all. Mm-hmm. So I think there might be something to that. But as far as them pivoting away from secret layer and putting this stuff into the product, I do think you have got a point where it's like, listen, Wizards knows they can't have any more like Streets of New Capenna collector boxes. As much as I love the set, they can't have Adventures of the Forgotten Realm collector boxes. A collector box for $89 on Amazon is a bad.
I just ordered 6 of those.
Which one?
They're $100. They're cheap.
Which one? Which one?
Not Lord of the Rings. D&D. Adventures of the Forgotten Realm. That set's good, man.
How many times do I have to teach you this lesson, old man?
You know what I noticed? I'm buying. This is a collection I'm buying right now, and they had some of those gilded foils. Those gilded foil cards are actually on their way up. Is that just you? Is that just you?
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Well, I'm adding some to the market, so I'll PM you. See if you want to pick them up for me. Save on.
That's fine. Give me a nice bulk rate, baby.
I don't know. I just think like at some point, secret layer's gonna like have to. It's gonna change at some point, and I like the idea of putting stuff in the boosters instead.
Can I challenge you on that?
Yeah.
The way Magic exists right now, today, outside of the fact that my big gripe is that the price increase is completely eaten by the store alone. Everybody increased price, and the local game store could not increase price. That's a failure. Take that out of the equation. Just look at Magic products from the consumer standpoint. Why do they have to change the secret layer model? Everything seems to be humming in harmony right now. People are buying the secret layers. People are engaging with the premium products and the standard sets. And listen, if we're not buying the secret layers, do you know what Wizards of the Coast will do? Oh, we're not making money. They'll either change them or stop them.
And that's what I'm saying is going to happen. They're going to change the way they do. So
US should they, not will they?
My hypothesis is more of so the secret layer, right? You have to pay the artists, you have to design the art, you have to do all that stuff. You have a whole secret layer team probably that's organizing with a creative team that's doing that. Sure. So it costs money from a personnel standpoint to do that. And if you're not selling the volume of cards, there's probably a zone of like, this is no longer worth it. I personally think that they want to get to a model that's more like the Pokemon Center Pokemon stuff, where they have exclusive promo cards. I mean, I don't know if you were following the Pokemon thing this week, but the Van Gogh promo for Pikachu. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And it's like overwhelming. People buying random crap on the website that they don't want just to get this Pikachu promo card. And like, I think that for Wizards, that would be the end goal, is like be able to sell a ridiculous amount of product that you have left over with this 1 or 2 promo cards that you can put out that are exclusive to Secret Lair. And they've started kind of doing that. Like the
convention center, convention in a box.
And but that one's even crazier because they're just creating this random box of product that really Mystery Booster is such a like randomized. It's like asking ChatGPT to throw together a random set of cards for you so that you can sell it to your consumers. like it's so easy to do. All they need to do is Mystery Booster version 2, ChatGPT edition, and like throw a random Mox, whatever in there and sell it.
The Mox, you got me. You know what? I was out until you got me with Mox whatever. In fairness, let's point out that Secret Lair is still doing work. You mentioned like the specialized Pikachu promos, and there was the baseball Secret Lair that happened recently, the up to bat or whatever it was, and then the first iteration of the signed cards, even though they're signed by people. This is what I don't understand. They're signed by planeswalkers that don't exist. Right? Yeah, it's like I don't know. Listen, if I'm breaking this for you, I'm sorry. Jace isn't a person.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I'm so sorry. But like, that is working, and those cards are going for a good value and people want them, right? So there is kind of that in Secret Lair right now. So again, my thought is it seems to be working, and that doesn't mean I've vaunted Wizards for constantly innovating and changing maybe when they don't need to. They might change it, but like the ecosystem we're in, it's better than it was a year and a half ago. The Secret Lairs are packaged, and it's one thing you're buying or one thing you're not. Like, I don't know. It seems to be working.
I feel like the Secret Lair hype has died down extremely. Like, it used to be like, because there's so many of them, like a lot of people stop watching them. Like, I have all but given up on. I ordered the because I apparently hate LGSs. I ordered the convention one because it was
how do you not? How do you not? It's the one that had the assortment of packs. I have a shelf out for like Chaos Draft, and I just have packs on the shelf of like. So, and I was like, I can't buy this because I'm just adding to the shelf that I'm constantly trying to take away from.
Anyway, these cards though, we didn't really talk about the cards. You can't see anything.
Terrible.
Like, I was just pulling up the Arwen, and I have to really look at that just to see what it is. And I love that they put the. Did you hear the conversation that the cost for the card, they like tried to hide that it's a 1 cost plus a force and a planes. They like tried to hide the 1 inside the artwork, and it's like, how many people are going to cheat because they don't know what the cost of Arwen is? It's so bad.
Listen,
it's so bad, but it looks so cool.
It doesn't look cool.
It does.
It doesn't look cool.
Dude, stop it. It is a cool
does not look
card. It's just not a Magic card, but it is a cool looking card.
But you have a Dr. Ian Malcolm Chaotician does not belong on my Magic the Gathering table. Ooh, look, Led Zeppelin inspired poster. Like, I can't keep up. Like, I hate it so much.
Okay, can you imagine taking that Mount Doom and going to Magic Con in 2001 and sitting down on a table and trying to get the judge to let you play with these cards that look like this?
And the Mount Doom is one of the more legible cards.
Yeah.
That's one of the better cards. Like,
the Gandalf? Like, what is that?
Like, I can't read it. Listen, if I'm ever playing, I'm going to Magic Con Chicago. I've committed. Every video, I'm just going to keep committing to it so I can't back out. But I'm going. And if you play that card against me, you're like, it does this. I'm going to go, sure,
whatever you say.
Sure. I could know darn well it doesn't. I'll just be like, sure, whatever.
It's just wild.
I'm not reading it, proving you wrong.
The Aragorn one looks fine, but
listen, I'm on KitchenTableTCG right now. I ain't reading that.
All right, but then they're serialized too, right?
I don't know if those ones are serialized, but the serialized realms and relics are they those ones?
Received, I think 20 cards received this treatment, which I think is every mythic in the set, and each of the 20 has a X of 100 serialized version.
No.
That's wild. Listen, that day I went from barely wanting to order the special edition to ordering twice as much as I should have of the special edition.
Why is that?
Because it has serialized cards in it, and serialized cards are the future. No, because it's.
Would you say that you would?
No, honestly, I didn't think we were going to get any serialized cards in. I thought the print run was going to be massive.
Me too. I'm with you.
But now it can't be.
But now that it isn't, would you say you're excited enough to spend thousands of dollars on those serialized cards?
Not on the serialized
cards. Misery loves what?
This is the difference between you and me. I just want to sell the boxes that other people are pulling the serialized cards for. I'm not buying the serialized cards.
This is why I get no respect on the internet. It's because I don't own a store and I just love Magic the Gathering for what it is. This is blasphemy.
But also then the realms and relics. So there's 50 different serialized cards out of 100 in here because all the realms and relics are back. So, bummer if you have the Surge Foil Realms of Relics and you thought that was going to be worth it. Because now
are they back in Surge Foil as well?
There's something about Surge Foil I read. There's also Surge Foil Showcase Ring cards. They took the 10 commons and 5 rares and 6 mythic rares that can be found in the summer release. There's so much stuff in this box.
There's so much stuff going on.
It is going to be the
being
most
a Magic creator's hard
opening ever. You're gonna have to be like opening this and be like, okay, here's the chances of pulling this. You have like a cheat sheet on your hand, like your 5th grade math class. Like the square root of 4.
All right, Peter, have the crack team over there take notes for me because I need to know what I'm doing.
I don't know. I think it's wild though. The serialized ones are gonna be crazy. That's gonna be, I don't know. It's gonna be insane.
It's gonna be a wild ride of a product.
As a serialized card lover, do you
stop?
That's how I identify you now. Do you like the serialized, like they are characters from Lord of the Rings better, or do you like the serialized Soul Rings better?
The serialized Soul Rings.
You think
it's a serialized version of the most played card in Magic the Gathering right now. That's like right. the only benefit.
There is a 1 ring serialized.
Listen, Posty's gonna hit me up one day, and he's gonna want to come on the channel and show it off. I believe. I'm manifesting it.
What's gonna be worth more? This is a stupid question.
Yep, probably it's from
you. The 1 of 100, the 1 ring. The 1 of 100 1 ring, or the 1 of 300 soul ring.
I think it's got to be the 1 of 100 1 ring, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Even though Soul Ring, I don't think that's a bad question. I like the basis of thought for that question. I think you're right on point. It's just the 1 ring's gonna, the 101 ring is gonna draft off the $2 million sale of the 1 of 1. It's gonna nudge up there.
Listen, I hate that I was so wrong about this when they announced the special edition. I was like so freaking negative about it, and now I am.
All in, baby.
Offensively all in.
Listen, you won't get any pushback from me. You are the head honcho of the all-in parade, and I'm gonna hang on to your all-in coattails, dude. Let's do this together. I'm in.
I'm probably gonna try to pick up a Saruman of many colors. I don't know what the card does, and I can't read what the card does on that. But I am definitely 100% going to be picking up a serialized Saruman.
This is not my Magic. That's not. You know how you get all high and mighty about not your Magic? This is not my Magic. Yeah. This is not my Magic.
Not mine either. I hate it. I still hate that we're playing Lord of the Rings characters. But
vote with your wallet, dude. Vote with your wallet, dude.
I can't.
I already voted. You put in your pre-order. You voted.
I have to just accept it.
You cast your vote with your pre-order. It's massive.
I have to accept it, but I will continue to bash it when I don't like that specific art style. That's going to be the channel now.
Yeah, dude, we're on YouTube.
Yeah. I don't know. That one just looks cool, and like it exists. So
none of them look cool. Give me my Magic back.
Oh man. All right. Yeah, I hate when we just. I don't know. Let's move on. Standards back, baby. Did we disagree enough on that one? Was that good enough content, or should we keep on disagreeing more?
I Do you plan this? I just tell you what I think.
I don't know. Sometimes I just agree to disagree or disagree for the content.
Sometimes I will disagree with you on indie TCGs occasionally, because otherwise this podcast gets way too boring if nobody pushes back.
With standard being back, I pulled out my Shieldred, the Apocalypse.
Is it time? This is not a statement.
Don't as a secret layer, probably.
Don't do this. Don't do this. Is it time to just mass buy Dominaria United collector and set boxes? Because
the store I was buying product from this week, they had like a bunch of Dominaria United, and I didn't agree to the terms on the Dominaria United because I didn't want to open it.
Version of that card is $60.
Every version of that card is $60. It doesn't matter because so many collector boxes are being opened for that. Every version of the card is basically the same price.
Is it time?
No. You know what it's time for? It's time to open Dominaria United Jumpstart. That is by far a more efficient way to get those.
Yeah, but I'm way less interested because that's way less fun. Like, it's just not nearly as exciting.
Everything is worthless other than when you pull it, and it's one in every 1.25 boxes. Somebody's done it before. It was me. I did it.
It's me. I'm the problem. It's me. And listen, that's a good reference to the fact that Taylor Swift does in fact watch our podcast.
There you go. All right, Standard's back. Give us the player's perspective on this, and then I'll give you the real perspective that matters. The store owners.
No, you're starting. I'm not doing that. You're starting.
No.
Yep, you're a jerk.
Okay, so I did this video today and deleted it too. I was having a hard time today with my content. I wasn't in the feels on it, you know.
Ever since you stopped watching my channel and making videos and stuff, it's a good that you saw my views tank and you're like, I gotta stop this. I gotta make some good stuff.
I don't know, man. So I'm overwhelmed by the amount of people who have never played one-on-one Magic. I think that's a miss. Like, I'm all in on casual Magic being the most important thing for Magic the Gathering. I think that's a fair take. I think it's a good take. I think indie TCGs need to look into that because I think most indie TCGs are too aggressive on the competitive side, and they don't have a 4-player format. And frankly, most TCG players want to play with their friends in pods of 4. Like, that's just what it is. But it's overwhelming. Go ahead.
I want to stop you there. They shouldn't,
but they do.
But the beauty of Commander, you're 100% in. They shouldn't lean into the competitive thing. Casual play should be the focus. However, let people play the game in a crowd, in a pod, in the way that they think works best. As soon as you try to bubble that, package that, and set a rule set around it, it loses some of its luster. Part of Commander's existing luster is because it came from us. It came from people that were at the game store way too late, that slapped on a chromat, put all the value in their binder in a deck, and then played Magic the Gathering. By the way, might have known that from experience. That's how it started. That's part of the luster. To push back, and then we're done talking about indies, but to push back on, indies have to do it because they're competing with that. When Magic had 20 years to not have competition, and they evolved into that. But you have to be smarter than your consumer. But indie TCGs don't have 20 years. They have to be successful. That's true, but they can't give you the package and say, here. They have to say, push you in the direction of, hey, who in the community, what do you guys think of this? What are your thoughts on this? Yeah. Hey, share how you're doing it. There's different ways they can do it than other way, building a broken rule set that they spend no time on, packaging it and shipping it to you. But anyway, I agree. We're back on a Standard, and this is the win. This is the win, in my opinion. And this is a misnomer about Standard. I'm going to use... Look, hold on. I'm using your channel. I'm going to use it. This is my platform. Are you ready? People who play Standard weekly at the local game store are not this hyper-competitive group, and you shouldn't be afraid of playing Standard because you think they're trying to compete with you all the time. Standard was always a wonderful place to play just a new card that you were excited about. Yes, Oh, I'm sorry. How many years did you playing standard, or did you spend playing standard consistently at the local game store? Because I got over 5 in me.
I played standard for like 2.5 years.
Every week.
I also
never missed a week, just constantly, and I'm playing every different deck, and so was almost everyone else at the local game store. You were playing different things. It wasn't like Modern. You weren't sitting there and buying the most expensive deck or whatever the meta deck was. You had the cards available. You were playing the format to have a good time. Yes, when I sit down across from you in Magic, and this is, oh God, I'm gonna go now. Commander irritates me because you have to pretend you're not trying to win and try to win. Yeah. And when you're playing one-on-one Magic, guess what? You're both trying to win. Yeah. Like
I think as a person who has oftentimes been the new player at a store and I didn't grow up playing in stores and playing standard Magic and whatever, right? Like I have twice gone into a store to play standard and gotten completely curb stomped to the point where like I didn't want to play Magic again. And I think that can be overwhelming. But that's neither here nor there. It's I think that it's still important that the average Magic consumer understands that Magic is is a good one-on-one game that they should experience. Like I can't tell you the number of people at the store who have never played a two-person Magic the Gathering game.
Okay.
Like it's sad. Like it's just sad.
Couple things here. Magic the Gathering is not a good one-on-one game. It's the best one.
Sure.
It's the best one. Yeah. The numbers don't lie. Like they just don't. It's the best one. Second of all, your experience walking into a store and getting curb stomped in a standard experience is negative to you because you probably didn't know what you were doing.
My first
you
time
probably just walked into
I got kicked out of the store because my deck wasn't standard, which is also another big hurdle for people walking into a store. We see this with our Pokemon events all the time. Kids come in and they want to play, and they can't. They sit down and their deck is a year and a half out of standard, and they're like, "Well, I bought a precon," and it's like, "Yeah, you bought a precon 2 years ago, and your deck's no longer viable anymore." That is the issue with standard formats: is it's not a welcoming environment for new players. It's not.
There's not a single one-on-one formatted tournament event that will be a welcoming environment for new players. In fact, if you had an event with prize pooling for Commander, that wouldn't be a welcoming event because someone would be like, you can't do that. There'd be release pooling. Like, yes, casual Magic is the welcoming environment for new players. So, but what you're doing is a false comparison. We have millions of people that know how to play Magic the Gathering. Are currently aware. They currently sit down multiple times a week, look at their opponent, tell them, hey, it's great to see you again. I'm not trying to win, and then proceed to try to win. I would encourage those players to use Standard as a place to experience new cards. There were standards at the standard decks at the World Championship event. The World Championship, the best Magic you can possibly play in the known universe, and those decks cost under $200.
Yeah.
They were top 8.
Yeah.
You can play a competitive deck. You can play a for fun deck. It is all out there. The problem is Wizards of the Coast has to convince you to buy new products, to buy new boxes, to play this format, and that's where we have the rub. Look at the difference in success between Commander Masters, Lord of the Rings, and something like Wilds of Eldraine.
Yeah. Well, you've been calling this on the podcast on your own channel for almost a year now, that they were pushing towards something like this, a release like this. So the information that came out is that they're bringing back Standard Showdown, which is essentially, they used to do like Friday Night Magic promos, Friday Night Magic, blah, blah, blah. They did a Standard Showdown promo. So I'm actually, I know I was a little negative on it. I actually think this is a really, really strong, good thing. I still don't think Standard's I'm callous about Standard. Like I don't I don't love rotating formats. My buddy Donald has kind of convinced me that rotating formats are actually really good and healthy because it freshens up the meta and it's exciting to play. And I guess I never lived that long within standard. Like I think my standard deck was it was Uro, it was Simic Uro, and then like I had to change 5 cards to it. Before then,
that's like super recent.
Yeah, that was right before the pandemic. That's when I was playing.
Nice, dude. Let's go.
Before I owned a store, I played a lot of Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. Same.
So you don't own a store.
I know. You remind me every day.
So I think it's really good. I think it's a hard sell still as a store owner.
100%.
It's a really hard sell. And like you have to create another night. Like I'm working on trying to figure out where do I put this?
Right.
Do I stop doing Friday Night Magic as draft? Like draft has been pretty successful for us. We usually have a good, 8 to 16. Like we have a good window for draft. But then they did like store championships have to be standard constructed. And so then you're kind of like stuck. Like as a store, you almost feel like you have like I would personally love to do our store championships as Pauper because our Pauper is like our store's favorite format. It's the most competitive format at my store. It's the most attended format at our store. We did a Pauper 1K. Like it is, other than Commander, obviously. But they're locking you into this. So it kind of feels like you have to do it as a store that's trying to grow and do new things. So I don't know. I think our answer is going to be to do it on Saturdays, like in the afternoon. It's kind of a weird thing. I'm excited about, but I'm also kind of worried that it's just going to die in the wind because the commitment to this is pretty steep for players.
Well, so there's a lot to unpack here, and I don't want to get too soapboxy about standard because I think Wizards of the Coast and Magic as a whole needs something like standard for the product to build any kind of value, for us to build any kind of nostalgic or emotional connection to this. We need to play these cards. And when you play a card in Commander, like unless you're playing it as your commander, you don't play it well, you also don't play it that often, and you don't associate it with a set that it came out because you're playing that card by itself, right?
This is fair.
But it's also fair to say, like, I think the Magic community is a bit calloused, and we're used to the fact that, hey, we put Magic boxes on our shelves, we open our door, and they show up. And not to dip too much into the indie TCG community again, but they're used to community building and nights of their events. They're building those events and building those communities. It's going to take some special attention for standard to reach any kind of prominence, and it's going to have to be in that vein. It's going to feel like an indie TCG. Right, you're going to have your 4 to 5 if you get that committed to playing this format, and they're going to have to become champions of that format. Now,
I guess as a store owner, I just have to be okay with 5 people being at the event.
Yeah, like listen, you have and you have to decide, and this is the problem. It's just it's not worth it for you. It's like indie TCG events. Well, it's not worth it for you until you go above and beyond and say, hey, it's not worth it from a pen and paper standpoint. It's worth it for you from the fact that you care about your community, you care about your customers, you want them to have an enjoyable experience. But pen to paper, you're not going to make or break your store based on that event, right? So Wizards of the Coast still continues to miss here, in my opinion, because they're targeting the people that don't matter. And I want to get your take on this. Every reference that you've made has been about like my Commander players in store and my Pauper players in store. We got our drafters. In my opinion, the people that need to be being dragged into GameGrove.gg to pre-order all of their Sorcery singles and Magic the Gathering product need to be the people who are behind their desk 4 days a week playing Arena. You have a completely untapped segment of consumer that actively, if you go onto Arena right now and you try to get a standard game, you can go on any day of the week. At any hour, you will be snapped into a standard game with another person looking to play that format.
That's fair.
It's more important to me to tie those consumers to the physical cardboard world and convince them, hey, keep playing Arena. Keep jamming your games 1 day a week.
Right.
Come to GameGrove.gg and play standard.
Right. I think that's huge. And there's ways that they could do that. We've talked about this on podcasts, putting code cards like Pokemon does, right? Like
they're kind of half-assing it, right? They're saying your progress on standard will count towards your progress on the battle pass because your accounts will be linked. There's like been murmurs. There's been murmurs about stuff like that, but like that's not enough.
Yeah.
You to play standard, I gotta buy minimum a $200 deck.
Right.
I need to see that reflected online or offline somewhere.
Right. I would like to see and maybe we will, but a standard challenger deck, because they were pushing challenger decks. Was the original challenger deck standard, and then they switched to
standard?
Pioneer? I kind of feel like the original challenger decks were standard.
I don't know that off the top of my head, but that would make sense.
They were.
That would make sense.
There was a Golgari one, and I remember. Shout out to my store shipper, Joey. He beat me in the store. He beat me in the Friday night standard with the Golgari precon. He like won the whole event. He like stomped. He like hit multiple. It was not investigate, but where it searches for a land from the top of your when it enters about. Anyway, he hit multiple triggers like like he just like got super lucky. Anyway,
that's pretty dope.
Yeah. I would like to see precons come out with this announcement for Ixalan, and that's not going to happen. We know it.
A challenger deck would be a great idea. We already get pre-release promo packs, right? And maybe the only thing they do is they say when you buy a standard challenger deck, you put in your code, and guess what you get? Every single card that's in your challenger deck goes onto your account in Magic Online or Magic Arena.
They could do a pre-release too, like.
Well, they could do both. They already have the pre-release codes. Yeah, they have the pre-release codes, and you can do the
play more arena.
But the challenger deck gives you like it's not random packs. Like you get those exact cards.
Do you think the average Magic player plays arena?
I think the average Magic player has played arena. I don't know what the consistency would be. I don't have a feel for that at all.
I like hopped on arena once or twice and tried it. Like you convinced me to spend like $500 on arena like a year ago when we switched content, and you promised me that you would play games with me all the time. You never asked. You never tried. You let me down.
The fact that you're willing to go on your channel and lie this blatantly.
Yes, you did. How is that not what happened?
I told you not to spend that money. I said we'll play pre-con decks. We'll play starter decks. We'll have some fun, buddy.
All right, let's move on. I'm wrong. All right, 151 rebound. Let's go back to talking about things I was right about. 151 rebounds.
Okay, I'm back. What are you tossing it to me by saying it sounds like you're in mid-sentence? Finish your thought.
I was actually super surprised about this because I thought 151 was going to tank after the podcast last week.
You do lie on your channel. You said you had so much faith.
No, I did. But then after we talked on the podcast, I like started looking at the market. I was like, how are people selling ETBs for $42 on TCG Player? Am I this wrong about this? Like on Friday.
What do you mean how? Taking the L, that's how, baby.
ETB's back up to 57 right now. It was 58 earlier today.
Wait, it's down to 57?
Yeah.
Pokemon market headed back down. Heard it here first.
You ran the numbers again. Tell us about the numbers, because it's a lot on my screen.
That is quite a bit. And if you don't know what you're looking for, it can be a little bit overwhelming. So I ran the numbers, and as we speculated, I've released a massive sales boost. Didn't expect to see it this big. Sales totals of boxes tracked almost doubled. So if you have it up on the screen, what you're looking at is the products sold through TCG Player. We track the sold listings of every single sealed product. We're looking at ETBs, UPCs, and booster bundles. Now, booster bundle was always going to be good. I didn't know it was going to be this good. And the ETBs on release day, the 22nd, sold almost 500 ETBs on TCG Player alone.
Yeah,
it was wild, dude. Now the UPC, which is not even out yet, still selling. Selling.
When we have a full release next week, you're going to see the same numbers but more.
Really?
I think the UPCs are going to be. So I think what happens, because 3 stores in my area ran out. Not my area. I heard about 3 stores in my state, mostly up in Morgantown,
And that's it. That's all of them.
Running out of product, like completely running out of ETBs. I was like, well, come down to GameBro because I ordered way too much, as I usually do. Because when it works, and it's helpful. And when it doesn't work, it's just money in my livelihood. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a big
And my mental happiness and everything I hope and dream for. But
we
it's fine.
still shoot for the moon, baby. That's all. The only way to do it. Shoot for the moon. Speaking of shooting for moon, I forgot to bring this into the podcast at some point.
Let's go. Listen, I am so excited that you have that. I'm more excited that you have that card than I would be if I had that card because of how many conversations we've had about you and that card.
My desire to acquire one and my relentless pursuit of the truth.
Like, this is a weird spot to do it, but let's take a second and be like, you set a goal on this channel and you achieved that goal. Like, that's massive. That's cool.
I think I'm going to talk about it in the video next week. So
I'll make sure to like and subscribe. You should too.
We'll save it for that. Anyway, sorry, back to Pokemon. Sorry, I saw it right there. I was like, dang it, I brought that so that I could sneak it into a part of the Magic section.
I used my Phyrexian processor number 69 in my video today, so I gotta use what you got, dude. Nice.
I think with the release of, I think a lot of people are waiting for the UPCs. I don't know the Pokemon fan who doesn't get one of the UPCs, and there's a lot of packs in those. So I think a lot of people will wait to see what they pull from their UPC before they go out and buy more product. And I think there's a lot of, like I was saying, there's a lot of stores that run out of product, and that's when you start seeing the TCG player sales. Like, most people have a local place to pick up Pokemon. They're not going to TCG player. It's either Target, Walmart, or your local game store, right? Like, most people are, because Pokemon's way more impulsive than Magic. I know that's a crazy statement to think about, but like, people come into the store all the time and they're like, I just wanted to rip a pack. Give me that $8 Evolving Skies pack, and they just like piss their money away. They're just like, watch me lose everything I own on that $8 Evolving Skies pack as I hunt for the 1 in 500 billion pack card that's worth it.
Okay, so let me hit you with something that I think is interesting. These sales are up. This product is selling better. It's, by the way, does not come close to sniffing Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't belong on the same planet. And ironically, doesn't belong in the same continent as Commander Masters, a massive flop, right? So, like, in fairness,
of money sold,
number of boxes sold.
Really, that's wild.
Yeah, in fairness,
on TCG player though.
But yeah, I already told you the copium that everyone has with this, and you're in the second stage. You'll get there. I believe in you. The thing that I noticed was weird is the chase card, that Charizard, which looks really pretty. Like, it's a really pretty card, has not seen a massive uptick in value, even with the number of boxes being sold, the product, really gaining some traction. I thought as the product gets sold more of and people get hyped about it, you'd see an uptick there, and you haven't. What's up with that? Teach me about the Pokemon market.
Well, this is frankly a really weird release because of the specialty set. We don't know that there's more coming. Now, I would be very shocked if there's not more coming. And
we don't know that Wizards is printing more Lord of the Rings either, but I'm willing to bet a lot on it.
Most of the time with Pokemon, you're almost certainly getting more product after a week or two, after 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
But with specialty sets, things are wild. Like Crown Zenith was rough for a while, and then we got more. And so what the singles do is people, I don't know, it's just weird, man. I think this card, people know more are coming to the market, especially with the UPCs coming out. Like I said, like the most product that's going to get opened, in my opinion, gets opened with UPC release.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
How many packs come in the UPC again?
I believe.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but like okay,
it is.
And while you're looking that up, 16, I will reiterate
16 packs. So
the fact that there's not a booster box of this set breaks my heart. Like, I was going to buy, I told you, I want to buy it. I want to open it. Hey, I need my cards in English because I like to be able to read my cards. That's my problem with the Lord of the Rings cards.
the ultra premium collection is the booster box of the set.
But look, it's not, because it comes with a bunch of other stuff, and there's
But it's got
like
16 cards. There's 16 packs. That's a lot of packs. I know it's expensive, but also everybody wants the Mew promo.
But that's not a lot of packs. We complain about 12 packs. It's only 4 more packs.
But it's half the price.
Yeah, but give me this. First of all, it's not. It's not. It is more expensive than this.
It
is significantly more expensive.
Was $225.
Wait, who's buying this on release? Who's not waiting for Amazon? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I don't know. I think UPCs when the market will dip on single prices, and so I think people are not buying the high end cards because they kind of feel the same way probably. That'd be
and maybe there's something to that. If
I wouldn't buy that Charizard unless it gets down to like $65-$75. That would be when I would start buying one.
But like, then doesn't Pokemon have a chase issue? Like, if the most expensive card is $65 in the banger set, like, we would criticize another game for like there'd be no. We do it to Magic all the time. There's no chance you're getting your money out of that box, and that's a fair. We don't care in Magic. I have stood my ground, but the cards are fun. They're themed. They're on a plane that people love, and I said, "There's no chance you're getting Magic or your money out of that box." And the comment section goes, "They're right. You're never getting your money out of it." Isn't that fair for Pokemon here too?
Yeah. It is. I think it's pretty rare for Pokemon post-release that there is ever a time when you get your money out of the box.
But like, if the biggest set of the year, the big like nostalgic pull's got a $65 card, that's underwhelming. I don't.
Let me be very clear. I don't anticipate we will see a $65 Charizard. Maybe if they reprint it and
I thought you said don't. I thought you just said don't buy that card.
I said I wouldn't buy it unless it was $65-$75. At that point, I think it's I think it would be undervalued.
Gotcha.
I think that the thing with the difference between Pokemon and Magic, you experience Magic when you go and play Magic. Like when the vast, I'll use your enthusiast, the vast number of TCG enthusiasts.
Come up with another name. Come up with another word for it.
Players, gathering.
But not everyone's a player.
Anyway, most are. Most people, when they engage with Magic the Gathering, are doing so when they are playing. Pokemon, people come into the store with their wives and they say, "Oh, tonight we went out to dinner. We're looking for something to do tonight. We came in and we're gonna buy a box and open it when we get home." Like the experience, it's not value. They don't care. They really don't. Like they care about what they get, but it's just like the ecosystem of Pokemon is that you enjoy opening, and like they build it well. Like there's the God packs in this, or there was
the evolutionary chain packs,
and like opening that, and it's an experience, and like that's the sales pitch for Pokemon opening experience. So it's just different. I'm not saying like I agree. Like that's why I don't open Pokemon because I care about the money that I get out of a box. But the average Pokemon person, I don't think that they're really watching it like that, like Magic does. Would be my opinion.
This shows us one thing. It's Magic and Pokemon have this model where they're pulling on our nostalgia, they're pulling on our heartstrings, and when they do it and they do it right, it works. Like and Pokemon does it. Everyone. Oh, Magic it's all reprints. It's all like Pokemon just constantly pulls on your nostalgia. The best sets consistently have Charizards in them, Mews in them, right? Like they do the same thing. And listen, you can't blame them. It keeps working. Like it keeps working. It has finally officially outsold the first chapter. It has outsold Lorcana.
We're winning, baby. I also think for Pokemon, there's this idea of like, oh yeah, I want that card, but I want to pull it. Like, it's a challenge. I don't know. That's like the attitude.
Who would be dumb enough?
A lot. Like you're insulting the entire Pokemon industry right now.
Like who would be dumb enough to be like, I'm gonna buy a bunch of this expensive box.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna keep opening until I pull something. And until I pull it, I'm not valid. Let's say I'm not a real content creator or something crazy like that. Like, who is that stupid? Like, that's impossible.
Seems like it's time to go to the sorcery content.
Listen, that's not a criticism of sorcery. That's just a criticism of your I'm not a content creator stance, which is weird beyond me. The biggest sorcery content creator constantly saying I'm not a content creator. Goofy to me.
I have a whole nother trade-in of high-end Magic cards that is trading in for sorcery right here in my hand.
Let's go.
It's still happening. People are
Let's
still
go.
coming in, man. The
Dude,
game's
That
growing.
was not a sorcerer criticism. That was a kitchen table TCG criticism.
Hey, listen, it's one and the same, baby. One and
No,
the same.
dudes.
We
What are you
bleed sorcery on this channel.
Really?
Actually, today I have a gameplay video coming out on Friday, and a deck tech. But the deck tech is 2 budget decks that are meant to be played against each other. So they're dual decks. It's the perfect Louis DeGeorge.
That's a cool space. That's it. Balanced budget decks and balanced budget deck techs. Cool space. You know what you should do? Offer them for sale at gamegrove.gg.
Nah. I have the
Okay,
Dude,
never mind.
here's the
Don't
problem
facilitate people playing the
here's
game.
problem
No.
with that. It takes so much time to sort sorcery cards.
Here's the problem with that effort.
So what we do instead, hold on, boo boo. What we do instead is I made 6 decks, 3 sets of 2. So there's like, you can build, and they all use different cards, and you can buy in a complete alpha play set of ordinaries from my website that then you can build all 6 decks with that. That's kind of what I've done on the website, and that's been pretty successful. Lots of people have picked those up, and I've got the deck list all on the website.
That's cool.
Okay, but this is not talking about alpha or pumping my own videos. Who would pump their own channel on this podcast? That would be shameful.
You talked about your channel just now. I want to point out my channel might be the superior sorcery channel.
Probably.
There's a key player in the sorcery company that is a channel member of Hometown TCG.
Wow.
I'm not gonna
also a patron of mine.
I'm not gonna out anyone. I'm not gonna name names. I'm just saying.
I'm not gonna say.
I'm just saying.
How did he find out about your channel? What channel did he find out about your channel from?
Probably my channel.
Okay.
Sign my card. I've contributed thousands of views to your channel at this point. Sign the card and send it to me, you ivory tower jamoke.
Jamoke. That's a good insult.
Thank you. Thanks,
all right. So
let's talk about actual TCGs now. Let's actually talk about something.
Everybody wants to talk about sorcery beta allocations.
Tell me about them.
I have no clue if it's good. I have no clue if it's bad. I honestly, I've been thinking about what to talk about on this podcast about sorcery beta allocations.
You're just lucky George isn't here.
Yeah. So first off, I haven't gotten my allocation yet from my main distributor that I went with my Innkeeper pledge with. So I am guaranteed a certain number of boxes from being an Innkeeper pledge. They are working with distro, and you had to select a distro to be your preferred distro, and you got your guaranteed allocation. So I haven't gotten that allocation yet. I am going off the assumption that we will get that and that will be fine. And there's nothing that has suggested to me that won't be the case. The company has told me that that's the case. Distros are basically saying, yeah, we're just still waiting on doing allocation, like whatever. But I also ordered a significant number of boxes from my other distro, of which I was cut to about 14% of what I asked for. I have also heard that a large amount of that's relative. I have heard many stores who did not, that were not innkeepers, have received like 0, 1, 6 boxes from their, from what they asked for sorcery beta from their stores. And they don't have the innkeeper guaranteed allocations. So that's like, it says a couple things. Number one, sorcery beta is seemingly more limited than maybe a lot of people thought it would be. And number two, if you weren't an innkeeper, it seems like getting a hold of a decent amount of product to be able to host the game at your store was awfully difficult. Even like playmats, like stores being like, I ordered 30 playmats and I got 0. So like, how is that store supposed to do anything if they don't if they can't get a playmat for the game, right? The other thing to discuss as part of that is that the social play kits are also based on the number of boxes that you get. I think the threshold was 36. It might be 32. It might be 28. It's somewhere between 28 and 36. I don't remember the exact numbers. For every, say, 32 boxes that you order, you get one social play kit, which is your prize support. So if you got allocated to 6 boxes or 1 box, you not only don't have product, but now you also can't really host events because you don't have the prize support. So those are some of the issues that are floating around as people are starting to get their allocations. I'm going to give you a chance to feedback before I give you more thoughts.
So I want to start with the innkeeper versus non-innkeeper allocations. And I think there might be, and again, total speculation. I have no inside information, and I like what Sorcery is doing. So let's get that out of the way right now. Because
stop it. All right, come on.
No, you have to say stuff like that nowadays on the internet. I feel
people
like
get so upset. I'm so sick of people getting mad at our podcast. It's just like, go find something better to do with your life than get mad at my podcast, our podcast.
Wow, so the truth comes out. Little Freudian slip there.
It's
little my podcast versus our podcast.
Let's be honest. It's George's podcast. Okay, let's be honest.
Who? I don't see him.
The guy who never shows up.
Hey, listen, he's got stuff going on. He's the only one doing something worthwhile for humanity right now, so he gets a pass this week. Okay. I could see a world, and again, total speculation, tinfoil hat time, where your innkeeper stores and stores that supported from the start or went through that process are rewarded right away, kick off the bat. But Sorcery, we've talked about it, probably is going to be a waived out product with something that's going to last, the better part of a year. It doesn't do any real service to the community. Just take everything, dump it in the community right at once and say, hey, good luck, everyone. So you could convince me that as time goes on, and maybe the time intervals are going to be shorter, maybe they're longer, whatever it might be, but those numbers start to even out and come closer to one another, where your innkeeper stores can get 12 boxes a week and your non-innkeeper stores can get 4, 6, and then 8, right?
So
and
you're speculating that this will be a waived release where all the beta product is not in the hands of distro on release week.
Yes.
And you're saying
no
months down the line, you think more product will come in. That's what you're speculating.
Yeah, or not necessarily 6 months down, but 2 months, 3 months, some interval. And as that product comes out, there's going to be instructions to maybe offer that to non-innkeeper stores. Because from a distribution standpoint, distribution doesn't benefit if you're an innkeeper store and store B is not. Distribution sells the product to you for the same price and doesn't care because they get their money.
Distribution throws a really wild wrench in a indie TCG community like this. Yeah. And let's go back to that in a second. But I want to address what you just said. I don't think that is the case. I have zero insider information. Just from probing and asking questions, nobody has come out and said, yeah, more product. Like Lorcana right now, right? They came out and said, they made a public front-facing statement. Boxes are scarce. We have more boxes on their way. You'll get boxes October 1st. Then it was September 1st, and then it was October 1st, right? Like, they have made a public declaration that this is a waived product. Sorcery has not done that. Beta...
there's also no need to. Beta's not out yet. Lorcana did that when Lorcana had been released. I think it's unfair to...
They did that a little earlier, but...
No.
They didn't?
No, it had been available at the game store when they said that. Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. I don't think it's fair to expect Sorcerer to be like, hey, there's private allocation numbers have gone out from distributors to hobby shops.
This is fair.
Those numbers are now being talked about in the community, and Sorcerer now feels the need to address news that isn't news that they put out. That doesn't seem fair at all. So I don't expect them to make a statement on that at all. I do expect, based on everything we've seen. Listen, we have criticized Sorcerer for, hey, can you get this thing printed in China? Like that was, or wherever it was printed, how's the card quality? Came back great. They delayed the release because they wanted a seamless release with their community. I claim that that's a great move because it shows that while delays are never good, and it would have been better just to not have a delay in the situation they existed in, it was better to delay to build that hype and that community and that coming together that those old school people want. Like, if you're interested in Sorcery, you're interested in that old school TCG, classic TCG aspect. Part of that is your release night, right? Because that's a big deal in that space. So it shows that they understand this. I can't imagine I'm not a game designer, so maybe I'm wrong. I can't imagine they're like, we're going to print for a product that needs to last a year. It won't be waived. We're going to print this much. We're going to give it all to distro. We're going to go like this.
Yeah.
And we're going to hope for the best. Like, maybe they do, but that it doesn't. Everything else, every track record has shown me that that's not the move. And maybe it is.
And I hope that's not the case too. I think that one of the issues, if you assume that that's not the case, a lot of the issues are solved. But if it is the case that they went ahead and released the whole print run, it's going to be very difficult for new stores to get involved in the game and start communities. And
it can't. If you want, let's take it one step farther. If that's the move. If all of the print run is out there and distro isn't doing one of those, I mean, distro will do that thing where it's like you can get another box every month. That's meaningless, right? At that point, how do you get new people involved in the game?
And we're seeing this, frankly, we're seeing this with Lorcana now. And with Lorcana, stores were getting 24 boxes. New stores were getting, that's a decent number of boxes for most, for an average store, I would say.
I mean, maybe, but a big part of the enjoyment of Sorcery is, like you've said, it's the box opening experience. Right. And Lorcana gets to break that rule a little bit. Why? Because most of the community that's interested in Lorcana is going to get more mileage out of a starter deck than any other trading card game. And that's because, why? I'm playing Aladdin, and me and my little daughter, or me and my best friend from high school, we sing when we do it, and we don't care about anything else. Sorcery doesn't get to live in that sandbox. It's not their fault. That's anything they do. It's not the Aladdin from our childhood or the Lion King, right?
But my point is, we're seeing this with Lorcana, where, like, at my store, we haven't had theme decks since release day. So anybody who comes in who wants to get into Lorcana, sorry, man. Come back in October, and if I have allocations, I'll give them to you. I can't even pre-sell it to you because I don't know what I'm getting. It makes it really difficult to launch a new game when you have a mixture of high demand with not product. And listen, Sorcery's got an impossible task, in my opinion, to figure out. Like, the other worst thing that you could do, this is where I'm not sure what could be worse, is you overprint the thing to oblivion and all your cards are worthless and nobody wants to pick up the game because it's a waste of money. Like, that's a whole nother side of this, which is like, frankly, I'm on one hand very happy that they seemingly didn't crazily overprint like we've seen other games do. That completely removes the collector element to it, completely removes that side of the game. But I also want to be able to host events and do the things that I need to do. I want other stores to be able to do that more. Like, I'm an innkeeper, so I've got the boxes I need, but I want other stores to be able to do that because the game needs to grow. So it's a really hard balance. It's an impossible task, to be honest. So I hope what you are saying is accurate, that they are waving it out. Now, sorry, go ahead.
I would say that you would, I don't know, like alpha is out there, and alpha is riding on the success of the value of the product and the value of the box. It is not riding on the gameplay. Beta is your opportunity to get the game into people's hands and showcase what might be the most exciting part of Sorcery that the common human hasn't had the opportunity to experience yet. You can't wander into a hobby shop and buy a Sorcery deck right now. You can't do that reasonably. In this world, I would rather see too much of the product. I'd rather see too much of it because, listen, alpha will hold value. You want to jump in that swimming pool, you can. Otherwise, this product's got to last us a long time. And maybe it picks up steam and picks up value over time. But, like, I can't see a world where they vastly underprinted and then just clap their hands and walk away. You keep saying that's a possibility. I hope not. To me, it's not. It's not a possibility. I don't think that can happen.
On the podcast, I don't remember exactly what he phrased, and I am speculating based on what he said. So I'm not putting words into his mouth. But
we're speculating based on a statement that neither of us remember. Got it. Go.
Well, I kind of remember. One of the things he said, was the idea that they have the ability as a company to have boxes on hand, and like the finances of their company allow them to have boxes on hand that might never see the light of day.
I do remember. Yeah.
That is my interpretation of what he said. And I hope that that is the case. And hypothetically, if I owned a company that was making a game and I had that freedom of money, I could put out 70,000 boxes onto the market and keep back 30,000 or 40,000 and release those boxes as the market needs them until I decide what to do with it.
Sure.
And if I need to, I can destroy those boxes and like it doesn't wreck my finances. Then it acts as a buffer, I guess would be the phrase I would use, to make sure you're not tanking the market, but make sure players and stores have the ability. So I hope that's the case. Now I want to go back to another thing because we probably should have addressed this at the beginning. When you have a new, I can't think of, like, I think we've been involved in this. We've been involved in store levels. We've been communicating with stores. We've been involved in the indie TCG scene for a long time.
Yeah.
When you have an indie TCG scene, you often have stores that are not as active in Magic Pokemon ecosystem. You often have a lot of, frankly, new stores, and also stores that might not have accounts with the specific companies that they are now ordering from. And I think if I were to, based on my conversations with my reps about product and trying to get more product, because I have a relationship with them and I spend thousands of dollars a month. I mean, thousands of dollars a week. I call my reps every Monday, and if they don't call me back by 1:00, guess what? I call them again at 1:00 because I want to spend money that I don't need to spend. I don't need more product, but I want to actively be spending money. Sometimes I buy stuff that I know I'm just going to break even on because it ups my spend. It gets me more relationship so that when something like Sorcery comes out or Lorcana comes out or a hot Magic set comes out, I have the relationship with them that they are allocating me more, or even like the way the reps work, right? They'll straight up, if a store doesn't pay for something, and it's outside the window, they'll put it on my ticket, right? Like they'll just put it on my ticket and then ask me later that day, hey, do you want this? The store dropped out of it, and I'll pick it up. Like, because we have that relationship that I buy everything from them. So I would, we're seeing a lot of negativity from some of the loud mouths on the internet and the loud mouths in the Facebook groups who maybe didn't get the allocation they thought they were going to, but it could also be that they don't order a ton from the distros and they are newer accounts with those distros. I'm not saying that's every scenario, but that could be a number of the scenarios where it couldn't be that bad. Now, like, I did get allocated pretty hard from the rep, but I mean, frankly, I got enough boxes that if I was a new store that was looking to start a game, like, I could do it with the boxes I have. It wouldn't be ideal, but like, I think I got like 25 or 26 sets of the starter decks. Like, that's
plenty. But you also have a passion for it, right? You got to, some of these stores, like, hey, I'm willing to build a sorcerer community. I'm not necessarily passionate about doing it, but you started the conversation off with a premise that I don't necessarily believe in. If you're a store and you don't have a strong Pokemon or Magic scene or a major TCG scene, and you're trying to build your game off indie TCGs and making sorcery pillar, like, hey, that's going to be, it's a scary time.
Yeah.
Like, not only the distribution relationship you talk about, but as with the rub with any TCG, any indie TCG, like, one bad set, 2 in a row, and you're in for some rocky times. It's not unrecoverable. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean like everything's doom and gloom. But if you don't have that consistent business to not only, like you mentioned, get your spend up, but have the ability to get these products, because otherwise an indie TCG is going to come out, it's going to be popping, and guess what? You ain't going to get any.
Yeah.
Why? Because you're not a preferred customer. So I see where you're going. I think you and George do this a lot, and this is just my opinion. I think you look at it through the lens of George through his store's and unique situation, you through the lens of someone who's exceptionally passionate about sorcery, and not just sorcery, but building that level of community. And you're good at that. That's one of the areas where you excel, like, beyond most people that I've ever met. And I don't like to compliment you on the podcast, so when you edit this, make sure you cut this out. Yeah,
it's
but you
both of us, to be honest.
Like, you excel here. So I think you see this sorcery opportunity and you say, I'm willing to look through the forest and see the situation, or see the forest for the trees, or whatever it is, and say, I could do it with this. Where another game store owner, when they're not passionate about building that, they see an allocation like this, and you call them like, you know, the naysayers or the people on Facebook crying. And like, I don't like that either. But just to put yourself in their shoes for a second, without that level of passion, you're committing to a good amount of work for a community that's not going to build itself. That's not a that's just the indie TCG game. You have to love it. You have to love it, or you're going to hate it.
But then you shouldn't be on the internet complaining about it if you don't actually care about it. If
I don't understand what
about the free tendies. Like, leave the free tendies to the stores that are getting special promos to sell their boxes online without running events and
that's hard for me. That's hard for me to agree with as someone who goes on the internet and gives his thoughts on things every single day, right? And some of those can be complaining, some of them are great, but I understand. I do it because I like my channel, I like my community. If you're doing it just to like do a hate post on a Reddit thread, that's something I don't get. No.
Anyway, super interesting. It'll be interesting to see the release. I hope boxes come out and they float around that 130 to 165 range. Like, that would be my hope for Sorcery.
I'm bummed about the allocations. I wanted cheap product because I wanted to just open a bunch of it and have some fun. Like,
it'll be interesting because like this is a big set. Like, you got to get like, if you're opening the card, it took me like, I remember like 25 or 30 boxes to get a whole set for myself. So
who cares? How many cards are in the set?
403.
There's 402 that don't matter then.
All right, let's talk about Lorcana. We're at an hour and 35. So,
my God.
Yeah. Lorcana is very similar. Set 2 has come out. There is allocations are similar, if not less. My rep told me that many stores are getting less than they got for wave 1 of the first set. So,
as of the recording, at the start of the recording of this podcast, my Lorcana video came out about this topic. So I love that we're talking about it. I don't know if, no, probably not. None of my videos are pumping. My channel's doing really bad right now.
I'm frustrated by that. I did, though, speculation. Somebody sent me, because of my video on them not sealing their boxes, they are from Germany, which is where Ravensburg, whatever, exists, of them communicating to Ravensburger that they need to put seals on their boxes. And they basically said, we are working on, that was a mistake. We're working on fixing the product. So, hypothetically, we may start sealing seals on boxes. But
listen, I'm not willing to change my position. When a new TCG comes out and makes a mistake and corrects it, I'm always all for it.
Yeah. Allocation of this is going to be rough, though. Boxes are going to be rough. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, at the end of the day, when you shortcut your allocations, it just takes time to get more product. So, like, they probably know what. Yeah, it's a nothing burger. I know.
That's the most duh and obvious thing. When you don't have enough product, it takes time to get more product.
You can't be that negative that like, oh, how did they not print more boxes? Like, hypothetically, their order was already in when set 1 came out. And so like now they just have to wait it out. And you as a consumer just have to wait it out. Go to your LGS, play in their events with your precons that you already have, and be patient. Like, that's the only answer for this if you care about Lorcana.
I've already dunked on the fact that, like, hey, they misread their demand. And like, I don't mind if you miss. Like, listen, shoot your shot, miss your shot. You can't airball your shot on the wrong basket. That's what this, and George will be like, that's clearly not true. Look at all the product that's selling in Target and Walmart. Like, well, they clearly needed more. They're clearly off. And like, you couldn't, how they printed 100,000 boxes. How many more would you have wanted? I don't know. Do some kind of market research. I'm not claiming to know how that works. I'm claiming to expect the company that prints the game to know how that works.
Yeah.
That's my expectation. Listen, I don't understand a lot of things about things that I criticize, but I expect the professionals and the experts to know about that.
Yeah. And this was one of those things where, when you're a board game company, you don't have the, this is what I said a year ago on the podcast, which is like,
I already gave you the opportunity to jump back on this take and you passed. So.
They don't have the history and knowledge of that yet. They're going to have to learn it. This is not an auto win. Like everybody thought this was an auto win because it's Disney.
Oh no. Oh no, buddy. But it's
you still think it's an auto win because they can just mess up and it doesn't matter.
They did. They already did.
Yeah.
They already did.
I guess so.
Would we agree based on the few videos of Lorcana that you have made and everything I have said on this podcast? I think it's fair to say we both agree that from a TCG enthusiast, check your bingo card standpoint, they have messed up. They have screwed up. Guess what else?
It doesn't matter.
Hasn't made a damn bit of difference. And guess what's going to happen?
They're going to screw up again? So how many times can you screw up without making a difference?
So they clearly get more than something like Sorcery would get, right? Sure. Or something like MetaZoo gets, and that's the living in that Disney world. You get to fail over. You're like the popular, attractive high school quarterback. You get to keep failing at things, and people just keep patting you on.
And Dad's the coach. You can do it.
Yeah, and everyone just keeps patting you on your head and saying, "Oh, good job, you're so pretty." Like that's what's gonna keep happening here, and we're gonna see that with Lorcana. Like I do think they will get it right because there's going to be so much pressure too, especially if your community stays involved, and people, this is what people like you and I, and this is so frustrating to make YouTube videos on it because our YouTube viewers are a cultivated audience of people who expect things out of trading card games, and they can't wrap their minds around the fact that it doesn't matter for Lorcana. Yeah. And like you can show them all the data and all the sellouts and the consistent numbers ever, and they just keep telling you there's no chance, it's going to be dead by the next set, and you're like, you don't get it. Like you don't get what's special about this one.
One of my distros didn't even take pre-orders. It's pre-allocated. Yeah. The other one was like, how many boxes do you want? I was like, 100,000. Yep. I want every box you will sell me. It's free money. Like it's not. I was like, why are you even asking me this question? He's like, well, you really want me to put you down for that many? It's like, yes, you're not going to have them. Like,
imagine Ravensburger figures out they do, and you're on the hook for 100,000 boxes.
Imagine actually put in for 100,000, but like,
oh, you wuss, do it, you won't.
It's just crazy. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a wild time. I like a lot of what they're doing with the next set, and it remains
content creators for TCGs.
It remains a staple for me because, like, the other night, my wife was like, do you want to play a game? I was sitting on the couch. I was like, yes. I want to play a trading card game with you. Yes, I do. Like, I can't believe you just asked me that question. Like, I was minding my own business and you broached me. Like, what? Yes, I do.
Oh, man. Wild. All right. I think an hour 42 minutes is enough, and I think I hear my kid up, so I need to go.
Oh, that sucks, dude. I'm so sorry.
Don't be sorry. It's the life of... It's what happens. You know the deal.
Oh, I know.
You know the deal.
Oh, I know.
All right, everyone. Thank you for watching, for listening, for being here. You can subscribe to the channel here or at Hometown TCG for Josh's channel. And we have Patreon on Kitchen Table TCG. We have Josh's channel membership. We do have an audio version of this on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or whatever it is, and all those things. Hit the like button. Be here for us. It means the world.
Tell Louis to sign a card and send it. Literally, I've contributed to 2,000 views a week, 50 videos.
Some things will never happen.
That's 100,000 channel views because of me.
Because of you. Have a great day, everyone. Remember to be kind to the people around you. May the zoo be with you.
And also with you, dude.